you had a Cadillac for sale, did you not? Or did you post it? What do you?
Hey,
you're
man.
the caddy guy.
If you're not hustling, you're sleeping. So this wasn't it. This was not the Cadillac for sale.
Yeah.
This is the caddy from season 1. Season 1, episode 6, triple black Cadillac.
Is that a 3? What year is that?
4. 6. Well, how would you know? Ooh, that's just the other day when I picked it up.
That's badass. Those wheels are kick-ass too.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm going to fall in love all over again looking at these pictures.
Let's go for a ride, Shag.
You clearly had too much blood in your alcohol system.
I didn't say I stopped drinking on Sunday. I'm just telling you that I'm still hungover from those days.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
My ass is dragging.
And I turned around and I said, "You just missed 10 grand." He goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because that was me being a dick."
No
Boom.
fucking way.
I'm
No way.
As you can imagine, there's no situation in the world where somebody thinks Lou was too loud.
Yeah.
I can hear you laugh from here, not through the stream, but from
That's true. That is true. Hold on for a sec. Do you think we should explain these hats or no? Just keep on going?
Just keep on going. Just keep on going. Don't pick it up when we bring on our guest.
You need to do is check out DEI, Design Engineering Incorporated. They keep the heat out so you're not sweating to death. Check them out.
I do like that. I do like that. It's perfect, and it's perfect for the show. It really is.
That first DEI commercial was the bomb. That thing was the best.
We thought so too. It's
all these guys, the way you use it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Been with my wife since 94. Met her in 94, got married in 97. Lou, when we met, she said, "Don't even talk about sex until we get married." After we were married, she said, "You can talk about it all you want." So, it ain't happening. I tell you, I got it rough. I'll tell you.
I think there was like probably 30 or 40 extras, on set that day. And when they started asking, who here can drive a 6-shift? This is like 30 or 40 extras. None of them could.
What?
And it's like, then the directors yell at me, "Why'd you bring these cars with clutch pedals?" It's like, well, that's the only way these old Land Cruisers came. There was no automatic. So anyways, we had to test a couple of my mechanics as terrorists and put them in the cars to. So
it's cool. It's cool. It's got
this different strokes.
But you start getting dizzy.
There you go. Kane's got to throw that up. He's breaking my balls ever since.
Look at that guy. Look at that librarian.
Man, we could talk for weeks about this stuff.
Hey everybody, it's Lou Santiago, and just to let you know, we have sick section. God, I can't even say it. I'm so jazzed about it. It's insane. We've got Tom Bailey, the man who owns the fastest streetcar on the planet. If the world was flat, he would do it in 6 seconds. It's that simple. So what we're going to do is, we're going to talk to Tom. I'm going to try to keep my senses about me because I got some really cool questions because he's got some really cool cars that I want to talk to him about. And you guys, I'm sure, have seen them on YouTube. I don't know Tom personally, but what happened was, if you guys remember back, we talked to Vice Grip Garage. So one night I'm hanging out watching TV, like midnight. I get this phone call and it's Vice Grip. And he goes, "Hey, Lou, you want to get Tom Bailey on the show?" I'm like, "Why do I know that name?" And he goes, "You know who he is." I said, "Fast Camaro, really fast Camaro. Like, it's like red, right?" And he goes, "Well, he had a white one too." I said, "Yeah, we want to talk to Tom." Next thing you know, bada boom, bada bing. I got a phone call from Tom. We're texting back and forth, and here he is tonight. So that's what we got going on. So, okay, here's the deal. We're going to bring in John. We're going to talk about John being in Miami last week. He's looking for real estate because he's getting old. He doesn't want to deal with those Philadelphia winters. So I'll see you guys in a moment with John.
What you need to do is check out DEI, Design Engineering Incorporated. They keep the heat out so you're not sweating to death. Check them out.
John. John.
Yeah, tonight is a drinking night. You know what I'm saying? I skipped like 3 shows, but now I'm drinking.
God.
So if I get all screwed up and start talking nonsense more than usual, you know the deal.
More than usual.
Sorry, Lou.
That's a pretty big more than usual there.
And
buddy.
I'm starting 2 minutes in. usually I try to hang till quarter after, but it's not going to work. I'm after refill, actually. I'm getting a little low here. What are you doing? What are you up to? What's going on?
Man, I was just hanging out, man. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, watching Tom's stuff so I can get up to speed, because it's cool. It's just cool shit. The car runs 6s. You know what I mean? It's just insane.
Can you imagine?
And I love the shot from the back of the car. And when it launches, man, it just squats like an inch and it's gone. It's straight. The car's dialed in. It's just dialed in, man. It's so cool.
Yeah,
and,
but he actually drives the car.
I know he does.
Car. It's not like he takes it around the block and it's got turn signals. He drives.
Yeah, there was a video where it was his white car, and I know the white car was before the one that he's currently in, and he said that the white one on one of the videos, he said the white one's got like 3,500 miles on it.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy. Yeah. For a car like that, that's impressive. It really is.
Yeah, and that's probably pretty close to what the horsepower is too, somewhere around at 3,500. Imagine that shit. Yeah.
It's crazy.
What's that worth?
And you're right. It's got directionals. It's got a tag on it. Well, and they do drag week. We'll talk to him about that when we get there. But so dude, I gotta say this. I gotta go out on a limb here.
Oh shit.
So I've been watching a bunch of this stuff in the news, and I find it so hard to believe that they didn't have an exit strategy to get out of Afghanistan. I got a problem with that. Because every time I deployed, every time we went out into the field, there was always the plan to get out. This is how we're going to do it. This is where you are in the food chain. This is how it's going to work. You can't tell me that they didn't have an exit strategy. There's something bigger going on because they don't tell us everything. There's something bigger.
There's a wrong way to do the right thing. And that's what it looks like happened. I mean, the intent is, and I get it, to withdraw. We've been there 20 years. I understand. But to leave people behind, Americans, they're saying like $1 billion something in equipment behind.
Yeah.
It's pretty, and they're calling it defense something mechanisms or materials instead of weapons. If you noticed in the press conference, they're not even saying they have tanks, helicopters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
So
and
crazy.
You look at it and you think to yourself, well, like you're saying, that's the best they can do. That's their exit. And I saw you put that post up on the page about them falling off the,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you blew it up. I mean, it touched like 25,000 people within a short period, and you got 100 and I don't know. There's a bunch of people shared it. A couple people pissed off at you.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not about politics, man. It's not about politics. And the people that get mad at me say, "Oh, I'm not going to follow you anymore because you like Trump or you did." Man, no, that's not it. That's
your
not
post
it.
said nothing. Your post said nothing about that. It's just like what you said earlier. I can't believe this is the best, basically the best they can do. This is their plan A and their plan B.
Right.
It doesn't even make any sense.
Well, and the thing that really irritated me more than anything else, when Peppermint Patty gets in front of the press corps and says, what was it? She said, if you're American, don't something like you're not going to get preferential treatment to get out of there. What is that about?
I didn't even watch it. I didn't even watch it. I can't.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. And I don't think we should. I get it. I don't know, Lou. There's nothing we can do. I know that shit's coming here. They're going to send hundreds of thousands of people from that area over to here. Where they're going to put them? Probably Florida and Texas. You know what I mean?
Well,
they're going to call them refugees. They need our help. They shouldn't this. And it's, it's just more.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It just blows me away, man. I don't understand why they would do that. I have a real problem with that. And I don't mean to keep harping on it. It just bugs me.
The world's going crazy. I mean, everything you look at is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Everywhere you look, you're just going, really? I'm amazed again. Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's one thing after another going, I feel like we're in a third world country when you step back. And it's not
we're definitely in a banana republic.
Republicans are screwing up too. I mean, that infrastructure bill that they looked at passed, and you got some hardcore, what they were calling hardcore Republicans, Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, and some of those guys passing that bill. Something's up.
Yeah.
Something's up.
Yeah.
We're talking 2030, all cars have to be electric. They're going to start charging you per mile, not per gallon. It's going to affect everything. And that's right around the corner. 2030 seems like, oh, yeah, it's a million miles away. No, it's not. It's right here. It's right here. You blink.
You know what we're going to have to do, right? You know what we're going to have to do?
Build a spaceship.
You're going to have to run for Congress.
Yeah.
Or the Senate. That's what we got to do. You got to run. And then when you get in, I'll run. And we'll get votes.
We just need the money.
We'll figure that out.
Run. You know what I mean?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take my chance and sell my soul and then renege on the deal.
Shake hands, kiss babies. Yeah, I'll do that. I got that. I'll do this. Yeah, I got that. Two for you,
when
one for you.
Me, they what's the deal? I don't know what you're talking about.
Wasn't me.
Talk to John. I don't know.
I'm not gonna talk.
He's Italian. I'm Puerto Rican. We all look the same. No.
Yeah, that's off to a bad start already.
All right. Well, look. Let's get at it. Let's bring in Tom after this break. After this break, 6 seconds. That's right. Tom Bailey is going to be chatting with us. Hit it, Ken.
Bye.
For more than 25 years, DEI has been controlling heat and sound, all with products developed to protect components and drivers alike, and has become the standard by which all heat and sound control is measured. Each product is developed with solutions to problems in mind. DEI knows when it comes to making and keeping horsepower, heat is the enemy. Innovative technology allows us to develop the highest quality products, quality driven, and that's why the best builders and race teams in the world use DEI.
Tom, what's happening, man?
Not much. What's up with you guys?
Man, we're just lollygagging. We're lollygagging. That's all we're doing. Nothing else going on here but causing trouble. So I gotta ask you about that ridiculously huge CNC machine that you have in your shop that you're carving SMX blocks out of. Did you finally get one done? Because I know in a bunch of your videos you were having trouble getting it up and running.
Yeah, no, we had Haas finally came out last week. They were out for 3 days, and we got a good start on everything. We're waiting for some other tooling to come in to basically be able to continue on with it. So I think we're on the right track finally. So
that's cool. So now, I mean, I'm guessing SMX is for Steve Morris, because I know he builds your engines. I've actually seen him. I've never met him personally, but dude, I know of his engines. He builds some stupid horsepower. I mean, like, he is no joke, and he had that was it a 94 wagon, 96 wagon? That one. That thing is brutally fast, man. It's crazy. So
yeah, he still has that. That's actually he was hoping to have it done for Drag Week this year, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's getting an SMX twin turbo, so it'll be a lot faster than it ever was before. So he basically redid everything, a full chassis. It's basically like 2.0, but in a full size vehicle. So
right. That's crazy. That is crazy, man. So how big is the, well, let me back up. Was the white Camaro your first Drag Week car, or did you have one before that one?
Yeah, you've got I think you were fast forwarding a little too much when you were doing your research, because you your explanation earlier was a little backwards, but
then give it to us. Straighten me out, man. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I had another 69 Camaro, which there's not a picture of there. We called it the Indian Barrel Ground car. That was my first Drag Week car. And we had all kinds of issues with that car all the time. And then we went to 1.0, that's 1.0 right there. We went to 1.0 in 2012.
Okay.
So, and then that's the first car that ran a 6 every day on Drag Week in 2013. So,
okay.
And fastest, that car's been 639, like 238. So that's the fastest for 1.0. And then in 15, we came out with 2.0 to basically go faster. It's a legit pro mod that basically has all the street trim on it to drive it on the street. But we've been 577 at 260 with that car. So
good God, man.
Wow.
That's insane.
What's the weight difference in the two? What's the difference?
Yeah, 1.0 weighs 3,300. So 2.0 weighs 2,950. A lot of it just comes down to aerodynamics, because 1.0 is still stock dimensions. So it's the same width as a normal 69 Camaro. It uses a lot of the same, like front windshield, side glass, stuff like that fit 69 Camaro. So a lot of it, it's got modified quarter panels for the bigger tires and stuff like that. But that one looks like a 69 Camaro, to where 2.0, it looks like a pro mod. And
right.
And it's all about being slippery and fast. So, and that's the first. 2.0 was the one in 2019, was the first car to ever run a 5 on Drag Week, and it went 599, 250 on the last day, the last pass. So it had 800 miles on it when it went 599. So,
jeez, dude, that is rolling.
Tom, talk about the materials. You're talking stock, the gold 69 stock, but what materials you modified the quarters? Is that all metal? What's metal? What's glass? Nope. What's carbon fiber? What is it?
Yeah, 1.0 is all fiberglass. So like when I say stock, I mean stock appearing. It's stretched 6 inches to make room for the turbos and stuff in there. So and then that's just big block Chevy style. That's a 615 cubic inch big block Chevy, twin 94 millimeter turbos. That's the same combination it's had in it since 2012. The combination's never changed, to where 2.0 has had basically that same engine platform as 1.0 initially, because the block wasn't done in time to bring that car out. But it's gone through like 3 different engine combinations. It has an SMX in it now. So SMX, it actually has 102 millimeter turbos right now, but when it set the record, it was 98s. But so
how much boost are you putting on that thing?
What's that?
How much boost are you putting in that thing, man?
Well, 1.0 is limited because that's not a billet engine, so it's limited to about 30 pounds of boost. 2.0, right. we've put 60 to it, and we could probably put 75 to it. So because it's all billet, 9/16 head studs. I mean, it's built like a diesel truck. So
yeah. It's built to take the abuse. Dude, that is crazy. What transmissions did you run in them? You run
Rosler Turbo 400s, so 3-speed deals. Then they got gear bender overdrives on them too. So they all my cars have overdrives. So and the gear bender stays in there all the time. I mean, I run the gear bender on the track too. Like I don't shift it on the track, but it's still in there on the track.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it does 80 miles an hour at 2,100 RPM down the expressway. So.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah, I got a gear vendors in my square body Suburban. I love that thing, man. They are phenomenal. I love them. I mean, I got a square body and it's getting 22 miles to the gallon. And I'm pushing a brick down the road. There's no way I could get that kind of mileage without something to help me out. And I just love them. Rick's a great guy. I've got another one in my shop that I need to put in my dad's square body pickup. That's what I'm going to put in that one.
Yeah, we just put one in. My girlfriend's got a 48 Chevy and pickup, and we just put one in there over the winter because it's just, it's going down the expressway with it barely an idle at 75, 80 miles an hour. I mean, you can't beat it. So
no, and it's easy to install. I mean, it's not like you got to cut the whole car up to make it fit. You know what I mean? It's basically the size of a football, which is so crazy. Yeah. I get it, man. So let's talk about that Nomad, man. I gotta before we go back in time, I gotta talk to you. What's the deal with the Nomad? When's that thing getting ready to come out?
We were hoping to have it debut at SEMA this year, but obviously car catching fire and having to rebuild a car and then other stuff that is going down, it'll be pushed till next year because I'm not gonna rush it to try and get it done. So so sometime next year should debut.
So I know John doesn't know anything about the Nomad. You gotta tell him what's in that thing because it's pretty insane. And the front end, the whole straight axle thing is pretty crazy too.
Yep. Yeah, basically, I mean, the Nomad's been something that like I've pictured in my mind for 3 or 4 years because with 2.0, I mean, you can't take anything further than that. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't build anything more than a pro mod and run it on the street. So it's kind of like you hit the plateau there. So now I just been thinking of what would be cool that I'd like to take to car shows. It'll still perform decently well on the track, but like just different than anything that I've ever seen out there. And and that's where the Nomad. And initially I was looking at following like gassers type rules. So then I started looking at the 871s and stuff like that. And then I started saying, well, I'm going to redevelop everything to do this, to try and fit in a category when I already know the SMX. I already know screw blower. Like I already know a lot of this other stuff. I would rather use that and just make my own modern style gasser. So that's going to have an SMX. It's going to have 2 screw blowers, 1 screw blower for the street, which will be a C rotor. And then we'll run it like 10 pounds of boost on the street. And then when we get to the track, take that blower off. You basically just got to pull the belt off, take the 8 bolts off, lift that blower off, and then put on the D rotor for the track. Straight axle deal. It's got a 4-inch round straight axle in the front, all titanium, but it's going to be a tri-fuel car because it's actually going to run pump gas on the street. It'll run methanol at the track, but it'll also run nitromethane. So we're going to do burnouts. We're going to do burnouts and stuff on nitro and do like the cackle stuff. So the goals that like you go to the Sweet 16 because it's also on radials. So you go to so you go down to South Georgia and you pull up there, and it's got zoomies on nitro, and you can picture how everybody crowds a starting line at those events.
Right.
If you've ever been around nitro, then you know what's going to happen as soon as you pull up to the lane with that and tap the gas. Like, you're going to have people crying, you're going to have people running, hats are going to be flying off their heads. Like, but and I just think it'd be cool because it's got the big gasser stance to it, but we got the drivetrain will be all low to it to try and, I mean, it's basically a 5-second setup that I'm just trying to get in the sixes with because it's going to be a brick trying to go down the track.
Yeah, it is.
But I just think it would be cool when you go to those races, you line up next to a pro mod on radials, and if they mess up, somehow you beat them with this brick looking gasser front end in the air, and people just crying and rubbing their eyes. Like,
yeah, dude, that's gonna be crazy. Didn't you say that? Does that in one of the videos it's got a Liberty, right, for the training?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
With
Liberty
a gear
7
bender.
speed. Yep. We're working on trying to do it manual with all the levers, so across the top of it. So when you're driving around the street, you're pulling, and that's Craig at Liberty's working on detents for it to try and keep it in gear when I'm cruising it around. Because I mean, that transmission has never been on the street before, but he's all about trying to figure out how to make it live on the street. So, but yeah, so in a lockup in it, and I mean, it's basically, whatever you could do wrong, like the whole idea, the concept of the car is how many things can you do wrong and still make it right? Like, So, but it'll be all exposed tunnel and all billet. I mean, it'll have a billet lockup in it, billet trans, billet gear vendor. It'll have a gear vendor on the back of it still, and then just all titanium levers for shift levers, and just crazy. So, and a big old screw blower sticking out of the hood.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have the big screw blower. Why not? What the hell, you know?
Yep, and then it's on radials, and it's got a back seat. It's got a single back seat in the middle of the cage.
I saw the video where they put it in, and you had like the camera guy get back there to see if he fit. Yeah.
Yep. So, but that's kind of like my end car. Like, that's kind of the last one that I want to build from scratch to take it just to the limit of how cool something can be and be different than anything else out there.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna do drag week in it?
Yep. Yeah, that's what it's built for. Being built for is that, and obviously with it being a steel body, carbon fiber front end, and the idea is car shows and stuff like that. That like, it's just a good cruiser to cruise around and definitely turn heads wherever you go. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Good God.
Tom, on your Gold 69, when you take it on the road, there's two questions I got. What's it take to be considered a street car? Is there any spec, or who decides that? And two, what do you got to do to swap that thing over to run it down the road as opposed to the track and back, vice versa?
Yeah, we don't. 1.0 is pretty much always like street ready. It actually runs on race gas. So it has two fuel cells, one in the front for race with a mechanical pump and an electric one in the back. But like roadkill to run off the back pump's good for about 1,700 horse. So like, so it's pretty much there. Like if we're at the track and we want 3,500 horse out of that car, then we go to the mechanical pump on the front. But that's it. There's just valves, and all we do is flip the valves on the fuel system, and we take the belt off the mechanical pump and turn on the electric pump. So that's it.
What about tires and that type of thing? What do you do there? Do you swap it out?
Yep. Yeah. We used to run, Hoosier used to make the cheaters, the 34.5 big Bubbas. And we used to run those on the street and the track. They stopped making them. So now we have to switch tires. So we switch from slicks, the 34.5 slicks, and then we street tires. There's two different ones. Like I got some big 20-inch rims with Mickey Thompsons on them that we'll run sometimes, or like the show tires. And then the other's just another set of rims, and just with bigger tires, which, as you know from my YouTube stuff, I need to switch to truck tires because I've been in the rain way too many times. And basically I'm running on radials in the rain as well. And I've almost wiped out several times. So.
Yeah, probably hydroplaning because you got a lot of tire there, right?
Yep. Yeah, we cup them. We put usually if it's not a puddling rain, then we just pump them up to like 30, and then that cups them. So again, have a very small contact patch, and then they do pretty well there. And then But when you get the puddling rain, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just bad.
Yeah. So now with the big Bubbas, weren't those were 16-inch rim, right? Weren't they like they were 16s or 17? It was something weird about them. Yeah.
Correct. 16-inch rims. And that's the problem is there is no street tires other than truck tires on a 16-inch rim. Mickey Thompson stopped making theirs, and so did Hoosier. So now, like Roadkill Nights, like a lot of people have switched to a 15-inch rim so that they can run the little Bubbas, which is the 33 15s. And
right.
And that does well. That's what we have on the ship box. And those tires do great. And that's, I mean, I just have to get a set of 15-inch rims and switch it over because, like, well, for Roadkill Nights, for the street driving, like a lot of people just take a truck tire because obviously they make plenty of 16-inch truck tires that can go on there.
Yeah. When I take, I can only associate this with what I do. When I take a road trip, and I'm going to take a road trip tomorrow, and I'm clocking it at 80, 100 miles an hour, right? So when I hit town and I got to go down to 40, 50 miles an hour, feels like I'm crawling. How does it feel to go to 200 plus and then try to keep up with a speed limit? You got to feel like you could jump out the car and run beside it at that point. No, I mean, really?
Yeah, no, and that's why we gear everything so that we still cruise pretty fast no matter what. So there's people that don't run gear vendors and they run taller gears and I mean they're running 50 miles an hour, 55, and we go flying past them 80 miles an hour because like one of the things is we have 400 miles to go. The quicker you're going, the quicker you're putting those 400 miles in. So like
right.
Some of the people are just whatever. They want to smell the roses, and I just want to get to the next stop. So,
Tom, what's considered a streetcar? Is there a spec? Is there something that's just talked about? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You could trailer a thing, you drive it a quarter mile, you got signals on it. What's the deal there? Because you run it.
Yep, it comes down to whatever. It's in the eye of the beholder. So whatever somebody thinks is a streetcar,
really,
the definition is out there. Like plenty of people say, nope, it's not a streetcar, but yet, like 2.0 has more miles on it than most streetcars, classic cars that people have. So so it's all like I said, just in the eye of the beholder. But so you're always that's an ongoing argument, but. Basically, if you can drive it 300 miles and go from one track to the next track, and you can get there, and then you can race the next day. Well, I mean, I don't know what else you need to define a street car. So
yeah.
But everybody says, "Oh, well, this isn't legal, or you can't have this, or you can't have that." I'm like, I'm sorry. Like Michigan, if you show up with a title and $50, you get a license plate. So doesn't kind of matter what you got. So
it's a streetcar. Yeah. Yeah. So who built the chassis for 1.0 and 2.0? Same guy or different people?
Nope. 1.0 is Suncoast Race Cars. So
okay.
That was it was out of Florida. It was built for Denny Terzic had the car built started in like 08, and then they were never able to get the car to perform. It had a Pro Charge setup. And when I had the India Barrel Ground car, I was going to build because we overbuilt the engine. And then we were going to build the chassis, and then found out that they might put 6 seconds or whatever for sale. So then with conversation with that, I ended up with it, which fast forwarded everything to where rather than have a whole car built, I was able to step right in and just take my drivetrain out and put it in there and then work on it from there. So it's one of those things. Denny Terzic actually came up with the name 6 seconds, and it was the anomaly for 6 seconds, but it was just called 6 seconds. And then that's kind of just taken off from there with me with it. And so that's why everything's called sick now, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then 2.0 is Skinny Kid Race Cars built 2.0.
Oh yeah. I've seen a bunch of his stuff on the Bullet.
Oh yeah,
he built
beautiful
stuff. Yeah, he built some nice stuff. Yeah, that Cutlass that he's gotten and some other stuff I've seen. He does nice work.
Oh,
real nice. It's very cool. Yeah, it's. I love drag racing. I used to street race when I was younger, but I got out of it because I started doing other stuff, just building cars, and I just never got back into it. But I love it. I think it's a blast.
Yep. No, and that's the thing is like when I was younger, I mean, I couldn't afford all the stuff, but as the kids started to get a little bit older, then I could start dabbling in it a little more, and then it's kind of gone pretty far in the left direction. So
yeah, pretty far. Not that far though.
But then, because then you got my boy Aiden or whatever that driving the shit box, and that Richie Crampton built that car, and so that one we had out at Rocky Mountain. So that was Aiden's first. He's 18, and that's his first time in a car was during that week drag racing. So
really,
yep. So that's his first time going down the quarter mile was at the event. So he had started to show interest. So he actually spent weeks down at Richie's shop working on it with Richie to get it done for us to take it there. And basically it got done. We had a 14-hour drive to get to Kansas to start the event. And we left at 1 a.m. So we showed up at the tail end of check-in. Car still wasn't done. We had to finish it in the parking lot to start the event. But I mean, it made it the whole event, which was like 1,500 miles driving that one. But
man,
but that was his first laps down the track, and I mean, he's came a long way just in a few months.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Ken, do you have the picture of the blue Nomad, the shit box? I mean,
the shit box. That's 57.
It's the one with Aiden leaning up against it.
Ken, can you put that up so everybody sees what he's talking about and see Aiden? There you go.
Yep.
He's a tall kid. What's he, 6'2"?
No, he's 6'1".
Okay.
Well, we'll see.
Good guess, John. Good guess, though, John.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool. Yeah. What's a drivetrain? What's a setup? And what's he doing here?
That's got an LS, twin turbo LS. So just a 6.0 truck block with a couple 62 precisions. So
what's a horsepower on that?
About 1,000.
Is that all?
So, yeah, it's a stock block. I mean, we can definitely turn it up for more, but he needs to grow slowly. So he's been 9.0, 9.05 with it. So trying to get him his first 8-second pass, but just he hasn't had the car goes right down the track. It even like roadkill. It went right down the street every time. So he hasn't had much adversity yet. So trying to get him some adversity before letting him get too much faster with it. So
yeah. He's got to have that check your drawers moment. He hasn't had that yet.
Yeah, his brakes went out though on roadkill. Like he did his burnout, and then the brakes went out, and he was smart enough not to make the pass. So to where I probably would have said, "I got the shoot. I should be fine."
Yeah, that's why you have to shoot. Jeez. So the shit box. There was in one of the videos, was it a turbo that went out on it?
Correct.
It was something you guys had to fix in the hotel parking lot.
Yeah, and somebody shipped us a turbo, which was the wrong turbo. So we took it all apart and then ended up not being the right turbo. And so we ended up just running with the broke turbo for the last day of it, which was all right. We replaced it since then. But yeah, that was really the only thing we had happen with that car during that week. So
that's cool, man. That car's, I like that car.
It's a cool car.
It is. It's just got lots of cool points, man.
Yeah,
and then it drives like it's
Woodward
nothing.
Last night.
Yeah, it's a cool rig. Very cool. So let's go back. So obviously you come from a car family. You had an uncle that worked for Chrysler. Your grandfather built Model Ts for Ford. I mean, dude, you're clearly a car guy.
I don't know where that stuff came from. I saw it on the little notes thing.
Yeah,
where'd it come
bullshit?
From? I don't know. Like,
straighten it out, then. Let's straighten it out.
Tom, go for it. Make shit up. We don't care. You knew Henry Ford? You knew Henry? What the fuck?
Yeah, Henry Ford was a.
Him and Henry hung out. What are you talking about?
Yep. Yeah, Henry Ford and my grandpa were best friends. And...
I knew it. Yeah, we say it enough, people will believe it. Let's keep going.
Yeah, it's on the internet. It's got to be true. So, but no, my dad was a tool and die guy. So in Ohio, I mean, grew up just whatever. I mean, grew up not knowing that there was repairmen for anything. Like I thought, I didn't know you called somebody if there was a problem. I thought that like if the washing machine breaks, then you fix it. It doesn't matter what breaks. You just
Right.
If the house needs a new roof, you put a roof on. Like I don't.
Right.
So then it wasn't until I was older, and I'm like, seriously, you can call people to do this shit? Like I thought that like. So I'd say whatever, we were like lower middle class, I guess, but like but that part was awesome because everything we did. So like learned so much from my dad growing up that like it didn't matter what it was. Like it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a freaking coffee maker. Let's take the thing apart. Maybe it won't go back together, but we're gonna take it apart.
But you're taking it apart. Yeah.
So so that was in totally getting cars and flipping cars. And I mean, that was the first thing. And I was doing the Dodge Omnis, like, because there was the Dodge Omni and then there was, and I always talk about this and then I never look up to see what the hell the thing is, but then there was the sporty model of it. That still was basically an Omni, but it had that.
Well, they had the Horizon, the Omni, the Shelby, and the Shelby was also a Daytona
version, right?
And then there was the Daytona. The fastback and the Shelby were the sporty ones.
There you go. And they
one was Chrysler and one was Dodge. Yeah.
And they had an aluminum head, and those heads would always overheat and crack.
Yep.
So you could always pick them up super cheap. And then you could get Omnis super cheap, and they had an iron head. So I'd basically buy them for a couple $100 each, and then I'd drop the drivetrain out of the Omni, I'd put it up under the Shelby, and then I'd sell it for $1,000. And like, so that was my first thing. I must have done 10 or 12 of those things. I mean, making $400 or $500 on each one. Like this wasn't like a big racket, but it was good money. But so, and then, I mean, we built Jeeps and crap like that in the garage at home. And I mean, that's, like I said, I mean, it was all just, we didn't have the money to just go buy stuff. So we just had to make whatever we could out of it. My dad had a lawnmower repair shop too. So like we were just hot rodding lawnmowers and crap all the time. So that was, that was that type of deal. So, and that's what I try and make sure that my kids understand too, is that, hey, like you got to fix it yourself. Like it's not, you don't just take it somewhere and say, oh, well, you make this right. You figure out how to make it right. So.
Right.
You want to say
that's the way to do it. You got to do it that way, man. You got to do it that way.
Yep.
I'm always taking stuff apart. Always. I got a welding machine and a plasma cutter. I can make it work. I'm not scared. That's how I look at it. Shit.
Yeah, there's two questions. There's two questions from Cameron Cooper, which are pretty good. Car that you want but don't have, and land speed stuff. Any interest in land speed stuff?
Yeah, I was actually in talks a little bit with George Poteet. I was down at his house early in the summer, and that's definitely something that's on my bucket list that I want to do, is something with that. It's just when it falls is like right in the middle of the roadkill and all this other stuff that goes on that I also participate in, but definitely on the horizon there. And as far as cars that I want but don't have, I actually banned myself from Bring a Trailer because I didn't know the amount of cars that I wanted and didn't have until I browsed on Bring a Trailer.
So you flagged yourself.
Yeah, so therefore, nope, I can't look at that stuff anymore because it's always like, well, shit, I remember that. Like, I want that. Like, I didn't know it 5 minutes before. So
yeah.
Why the Camaro? Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, why the Camaro? Did you have one when you were a kid? What's the attraction there?
Yep. Yeah. When I was, my dad, when he was in the service, he had two 69 Camaros sitting at the house when he was gone to Vietnam. He had a Z28 and an SS. So he always talked. I never saw those cars when, I mean, obviously I was born after he had those, but he always talked about them. So that was always a thing. I was generally a bigger 67, 68 Camaro guy. And I had one when I was 18 that was like a shell, but I never got it together. So that was always the 69 Camaro was always big for me after I got into more the 1 year body style and everything. And, so that'd be where the Camaro came from. And now, like, I mean, I think I have like 5 of them. So like, so it's a little bit overdone.
Just a little, not much. It's okay. Good. So on one of the videos, you were it was one of the it was one. I don't know what day it was on the Roadkill. On Roadkill, they you were talking about that you sponsored the show and you donate all the proceeds to epilepsy, was it?
Yeah, Epilepsy
What's
Foundation of Michigan. Yep.
Okay. What's that about?
Yeah, Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan, because my girlfriend's daughter, Kyla, she was born with epilepsy. She had seizures. She's almost 4 years seizure free now. So when we started it, it's like, okay, well, we need to do this for a fundraiser because everybody comes in for Roadkill. Well, there was nothing ever organized, and people come from all over the country. So I'm like, well, let's just put a party together, and then we'll make it a fundraiser. And so it's grown to, I think it's in its 5th year now. And I mean, we've raised, I think we're close to, we'll probably raise over 20 grand this year for it. I mean, last year without having the event, we still raised 10 grand. And then the year before we had almost 30. So year before that was like 5 or 6. So like just basically stepping it up every year. And it's one of those things. It's not one of the big charities that use your donations to advertise to get more donations. This is one to where it actually goes for the kids' camps and the stuff to actually support the kids and the families, not to just basically get more money from other people. So
right,
because we all know who those charities are. But
right. That's why I wanted you to talk about it, because it's important. It's important. Yep. I mean, it's a good deal, so you got to take care of it. You got to do it. Yeah. So that's just the way I see that.
I got a question, because
go ahead.
2 things. How many hours into putting a car together, and how much money in the 69 to Goldwyn? What's your guess? Because I know you just go, hell with it. I'm not going to keep track of it. What's your guess you got into that car? 15 grand?
Are we on a private forum right
now? No, we are not.
How many hours? How long does it take you to build it? Skip the money question.
You do know that there's certain things that you never talk about.
I know, but I'm standing there going, man, that motor's got to be a couple bucks itself. That's got to be more than a new car. You know what I mean? Some new cars. I'm just scratching my head going, that's pretty crazy.
Especially if it happens right in front of your significant other. Like,
yeah. All right, let's talk about the time. The Nomad. How long does it take you to put something like that together?
The Nomad, like, I mean, 2.0, like the Nomad, I mean, it'll probably have 3,000 hours in it by the time it's said and done. So 2.0, we got that done in actually like 4 months. So when it was going together, so Skinny went full time on that. I came up with the idea like at PRI, and I mean, we had it running by June to test it. So it just depends. But then 1.0, like more of a custom, and like the Nomad's more custom to where if you're just building a pro mod and adding some other stuff for it. So then it's a little easier than when everything's just one off. So, but I mean, you're talking, I mean, a roller without a drivetrain, I mean, no matter what's $100 grand. Like, I mean, that's what it's going to cost to build something. But like a Nomad, which is a one-off, it'll be all custom paint and everything. So obviously it's going to be more. So
when 2.0 caught fire, what were you thinking jumping out? Explain that whole process. I sent Ken over the picture of it, which I texted to everybody beforehand. But I have to tell you too, I'll tell the audience, Ken's got COVID. The producer behind the scenes right now has got COVID. He's like day 11 or 12 into COVID. So he's about to fall over. That's why you don't see all the interaction, the comments coming up and all that, because he's half out of it. Usually he's more, breaking my balls and everything else. But talk to us about the process of what it was like when that thing caught fire, jumping out, what you were thinking as far as damages. And I was most interested in the end, it's like a 15-cent O-ring on a fuel injector, was it not?
Correct.
Tell us what happened. Tell us what it's like to be behind the cockpit and see flames and what you're doing at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I didn't think it was as bad as it was. So when So basically in the run, it sneezed. So when it sneezed is more than likely, I mean, just a second into the run, that would be when the O-ring went out. So it sneezed. It's got 3 injectors per cylinder. So then it leaned out that one cylinder, caused that one to pop. I pedaled it and got back into it, and then went down, and then it popped again. Well, when it popped that second time, that's when I shut it off. And then I saw like the safety safari. So I'm like, all right. I mean, I saw a fire coming in the passenger door, but to me, it was just like a header fire or something. So I'm like, well, I'll just pull over by the safety safari. They'll come blow it out. Well, then as I'm coming to the stop, I'm watching, because methanol like burns clear. So you don't know you don't know stuff's on fire. So as I'm coming to a stop, I'm watching the windshield start to curdle. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess everything's on fire. So, and I mean, that comes down to your safety equipment. And I know that I've got SFI 20 gear. So, I mean, I know I'm good for about 40 seconds in the fire. So, I mean, to me, it was pretty calm and collected. I just wanted to shut off the data recorder and stuff like that and then get out of the car. And that's where it really comes down to that you're wearing the right gear. So, I mean, I wasn't in a hurry or anything until I went to get out, and then my seatbelt caught. And then I'm like, oh shit, like I'd unbuckled it, I thought, but then it caught. So that's the only time I got a little bit frantic right there. But now if it was an accident, then obviously, I mean, everything is just multiplied to where I mean, it's just on fire. I mean, I knew I could get out of the car. I mean, there's no big deal. I was able to bring it to a stop on my own, like all of that. So it looks bad, but from a safety standpoint or whatever, it wasn't a horrible situation. Plus the firewall's all sealed on that car. So there was no fire inside the car. So like even all the wiring and everything inside the car didn't have to be redone. So everything in the engine compartment, under the car, the parachutes, like all the way out the back is all melted and has to be redone. But in the cockpit, everything's fine. So we're still working on putting that back together. We're trying to have it back together in time for drag week here in a couple weeks.
That happened in March, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then been busy with so many other things that it kind of just sat there, and I started collecting the parts. And so then now in the last 2-3 weeks, it's kind of full bore trying to get it done.
Yeah. So you've got three drag week championships under your belt. How many more do you think you're going to do? 4? Oh, okay, 4. I thought it was 3.
I've won it twice with 1.0 and twice with 2.0.
Okay. So how many more you think you're going to go for? I mean, I know you're going to run the Nomad. I mean, because if you're going to go land speed racing, you might have to give up drag week for a couple of years, man.
Yep. Yeah. Like the goal is with 2.0 to run a 5 every day this year. And then if so, then that'll be done. Like you can't go any more than that. So
right.
And then with that, then the Nomad will be slowed down. I mean, that's not probably going to win an overall championship at all with the Nomad. So it'll just be cool.
Well, you probably win just on cool points, dude. As long as it makes it down the track, what are they going to say? The other guy will be in awe that that the thing is staying alongside him. They just won't know what to do. So you'll be okay. You'll probably get a championship with that too. I mean, I don't see why not. It's just, you gotta think positive on this deal, man. It's just a cool fucking car. Enter it in like, instead of the unlimited class, enter it like one class down and then kick everybody's ass in that class. There you go.
Yep.
It's all perception, man.
Tom, talk about Bailey Racing and how do people get a cool hat like the one you got on your head?
Yeah, it's all Facebook's obviously Bailey Racing. You've got the www.bailey-racing.com. That's where all the apparel and stuff is. We also have www.sickthemag.com because we got a magazine coming out. So the first issue is at print right now. So it's all on the drag and drive events. So first issue is coming out because, I mean, as you know, all magazines suck now, especially Hot Rod is like, you just basically flip through it and throw it in the damn garbage. So like, so So Luke, my camera guy, he also does. He's Australian, and he actually does a magazine in Australia, a little magazine that's got like 500 subscribers. So we were on a road trip. Actually, we went to George Poteet's and stuff like that, and we talked about it and said, man, I mean, if somebody could create a magazine for the drag and drive community, because there's 4 events minimum and more coming along. I mean, there's Rocky Mountain 1 and 2, there's Midwest Drags, there's Drag Week, and something that collectively could have all the cars in it so that it's kind of an equal playing field for everybody, then that would have like a cult following to it. So, so I reached out to a couple people, and basically I just went to 4 people and said, hey, I need you to give me some money so that we can do this. So Rick at Gear Vendors, Nolan at Iski, Motion Race Works, Doug, and then Steve, and said, hey, I think it's going to go good, but either way, I need you guys to invest in this so that we can get this produced. And so we did all the coverage for Rocky Mountain Race Week and Midwest Drags. And it's actually, every issue is a double issue. So it's basically a cover this way, and then about halfway through the magazine it flips over. So then if you flip it this way, it's another cover, goes halfway through. But first issue is 190 pages, and like,
damn,
there's and it's all over the world. I mean, we're up to almost 1,600 subscribers now for this first issue. So, and it should be shipping end of next week. And basically, the other thing we did with it is we made it the People's Magazine. So it is paid for by the subscriptions, not by advertisers. So it's a quarterly magazine. It's $33 a quarter. So, and each one's a double issue. And like I said, we got 1,600 people on board with it. And I saw the preview of it before it went to print. And I mean, it is freaking cool. Like, I mean, the goal is to cover all the vehicles that are there, not just because I get publicity and everything with my cars, but like there's so many. The guy that shows up with his Vega, like he deserves coverage in the magazine as well, because that's the start of everything. Is, hey, that's what makes somebody build on it, and that's how Hot Rod used to be. That hey, you got your shit box or whatever that you're working on. Well, that's just somebody wants to know more about that probably than they want to know about my car, because that's doable to them. Like so that's what we're doing. And I mean, we have 30 different countries that it's shipping to already, that we have subscribers in those countries. So it's been an undertaking. Like, learned a lot about shipping, but the shipping is more expensive than the magazine. So
Tom, Mountains Garage wants to know what your occupation, your day job is. If you want to tell me.
Burglar alarms, fire alarms. Like I do, I have a burglar alarm, fire alarm company. So we do a lot of retailers like Walmart and Target, Home Depot, stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah, he can tell us how to circumnavigate all that stuff, but that's another time.
That'll be our night job.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be when we talk about the real money.
That'll be after the podcast. With the ski mask and the pry bar. Whatever it takes.
Jeez. No, but dude, that's freaking awesome. The magazine sounds like it's really kick ass. I need to check that out. That's really cool.
It's gonna be cool. Like, and it started out to like the first 1,000 subscribers got a poster pack that, I mean, we did 6 posters and sent everybody, the first 1,000 people, a pack of 6 posters. And like, just trying to do it differently, like take care of the people like the magazines used to. They used to take care of the subscriber. Now they just take care of the advertiser. So
yeah. The magazine will have like 75 pages and 70 of them are ads. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah. So it has 4 ads in it. 190 pages, there's 4 ads.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. And about how many cars you think go to Drag Week? Because I mean, every time I've seen a video on it, there's a lot of damn cars. What do they got, like 300, 200?
Yeah, like 350. I think 400 is the max. So, and that's Midwest Drags, I think, had like about 200 this year. Rocky Mountain had like 420 or something.
That's
so Drag Week, I'm sure, will have 400. Rocky Mountain 2 will have 400. So yeah, it's a big deal. And there's more events popping up all the time. I mean, it's like, it's a whole nother, and that's the whole part of the magazine, is to try and bring the community together, that like, it doesn't matter where you ran that number at or how you did that. Like, let's put everything on the same playing field, because right now, Drag Week is the only one that gets any magazine coverage. So Rocky Mountain or Midwest didn't get any. So it's like, and no matter what, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter how many times your car's on the internet, in a magazine, in print, is something special, no matter what.
It is.
Like,
it is. I mean, that it's always been that way in the car world. I mean, you can build all the cars you want, but if you don't have it in a magazine, you're not a builder. I mean, that's like how it always has been. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. It's huge for car guys. It's a big deal.
No, and that's the thing. Is like, I know, like in 2010, when my Indian Barrel Ground car like had a postage stamp size picture in Hot Rod, I bought 10 of those because like my car was in the magazine. Now, granted, like, I need a magnifying glass to see it, but
I've
it was
done
in
the
there.
same thing.
Like,
I've done the same thing.
I'm like, it's in the magazine. Like, and now
and
it's
you
like,
told everybody, you can see it, it's right here. look.
It's still cool as shit. Yeah.
And that's the thing, and that's what we want to do, is bring that to everybody, that hey, when you go do this stuff, and like, hey, there's a good chance your car's gonna end up in the magazine, and it doesn't matter what it is or anything. If you're participating in this stuff, then you deserve accolades. So
yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. That's better than everybody gets a trophy. You know what I mean? Because that's way better.
Yeah, keep it alive.
That's cool.
Really keep it alive.
Cool as shit.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got I want to go back to Steve Morris, because the guy just builds insane stuff. How did you find him, or did he find you?
No, it was when I got the first car, which I bought my first car off eBay, and it was in Maryland, and it was race ready, no rust, supposedly, like all that stuff. And I went out to Maryland to go get it, and it didn't have any rust because it was all Bondo, like there was no metal left. But but I knew that I wanted to do a Pro Charge deal, so then I just did the research, and Steve was the guy. Well, I'd reached out to Steve, and he had had a partner, and there was a disagreement there. Like, he did not have a business at that time, but then he was going to a buddy's and did some chassis work. He was going to start doing engines there. And he had from Europe a top dragster motor, which was set up for like a Pro Charge deal, like a 540 deal. And so I bought that, and I mean, that was the start of it. And then, so he was there with Kyle, and Kyle did some of the chassis work on that car he did most of it, but it took like way too long to get it done. Like, I mean, everything, the whole thing, you learn everything the wrong way. But either way, that was Steve. And then it progressed from him then going out on his own to a little small shop. And so, I mean, in between, when he left there, like, I would still take my engine to his garage at his house. And I was his only customer, like, in that time frame right there. And then now he's in like freaking 60,000 square foot shop. So
wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
But and been with him ever since. So
because he's been doing it a while. I mean, I remember, I remember being overseas and getting a Hot Rod magazine and seeing the wagon. That's how come I remember the guy so much, because he was the only one running the wagon. And that was, the mid 90s. I remember that. I was like, what the hell is this? And the thing's dragging the bumper. So like, how can you not forget that name? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's pretty crazy.
And that's the thing. And like, he participated actually in the very first Drag Week in 05, like with his wagon. I think he only made it 2 days or something, but like, and I didn't even know that when I first started working with him on stuff. But like, and like I said, I mean, been there, another 12 years since then.
So how big can you punch out the SMX block? I mean, I know, boring stroke combinations and all that will change it, but I mean, how big do you think you can get that thing then?
Well, it's set up for RPM to where like 1.0 is a 615. And what we've learned is that just RPM more than we need cubic inches. So the SMX in 2.0 is a 526, and he can do that as like also a 577. And then he can do it as like a Ford or whatever. Like, so, but he tries to keep it right there just in those range because it's a 484 bore spacing. So, I mean, you can't go too big with it. So
you can't. Yeah.
But it's all RPM because, I mean, we can turn 95, 9800 to where the 615, we run 8200. So.
Dude, that's some serious RPMs, man.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's the thing is like in making everything to run high RPM and high boost. Like, so, I mean, you look at 1.0, the most we lift the heads at 33 pounds of boost. So we run 32 and we'll run that to 82, maybe 8,400 tops if we need it. But to where the SMX, and we run that at 9,500, and I mean, we could run 75 pounds of boost. So,
damn.
So
man, that's a huge difference, man.
Yeah, because you
want
to
thing's just making crazy power.
Well, yeah, you don't want the torque off the launch too, because the track can only handle so much. So I mean, it's
right,
and that's the thing is we've gone around all this different stuff to figure out the best way to do it. So,
what gear do you run in the rear end then?
So 389.
389. Okay, so it's not like it's a ridiculously low gear.
So,
wow. And then with the gear,
we've tried a 411 and a 430. Like 1.0 has always been a 389. And for the RPM on the street, we worked 2.0 into a 389 because we want to be able to run that high or the low RPM on the street cruise. So
right. And that makes sense because you got to drive the thing 300 miles, 400 miles to get to the next track. Yeah. So you don't want to be putting unnecessary abuse on the engine. It's going to get enough abuse as it is. You know? Jeez. That's crazy. I had no idea that it was that much that you guys were shifting it that. That's so.
Lou, I hate we're 107.
We got to go.
The only reason I'm stepping in is because I know talking to Ken, he's half dead. I haven't seen him do shit in like a half hour.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to check a pulse. Ken, you there? Show signs of life. Yeah, Ken. Put something up. And I feel bad because he was in the hospital last night. I got to tell you, for Ken to go to the hospital,
it was bad.
That means, I could tell you, he's had the worst year ever, from bike accidents to all kinds of other shit. And I hate to call it short, but I know that he said at the beginning, he's usually going through the pictures. What about this? We're going through a whole bunch of shit from 7 o'clock on. And he said to me, he goes, listen, I'm going to lay down. Wake me up at 7:45. That's telling me he's hurting. And I still haven't seen shit from him. So he may be dead. So we may have to tap out and still be live. I don't know. That sounds fucked up. I'm only telling you. I'm gonna have to call his wife and say, listen, you're gonna have to go over and check on him. You know what I mean? Even Ryan called me earlier. Ryan called me earlier today. John, listen, he was worried. And for Ryan to be upset, going, I just wanted to tell you. I'm going, I got you.
All right. So, then I'm gonna shut it down. All right. We'll make it easy. All right, everybody, we gotta go. Ken's we're trying to find out if Ken's alive or dead.
Yeah, hopefully it was okay. We'll see in a second here. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen shit in a little while. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for coming on, Tom. Who do we have next week, real quick? Who do we have?
We got your guy from the YouTube dudes. They're coming on.
Oh, it's Jared. Jared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we have Jared Pink.
Yeah.
So we're moving along. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a good show to me because I just love talking about cars. It's phenomenal. So I got no problems with it. All right. So next week, like I said, Jared Pink, you guys keep it between the lines and we'll go from there. John, say goodnight.